Welcome everybody to another edition of the Hurry Up. I'm your boy Adam. Let's get into it. Thursday night football had a great game against two exotic teams that if they're not your teams, you're probably not seeing them on a week in and week out basis, especially back in the mid '90s and early 2000s when they put this prime time package in. Right now, everybody gets one prime time game. Back in those days, in the '90s and mid 2000s, if you were not good, if you were a booty, right? You weren't getting on prime time. They were like, nope, 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 nope. That's why you see the Cowboys, Giants, San Francisco, bigger teams at that time that were winning. They put them on because obviously it was ratings. Now, because of all the TV deals and everything like that, everybody gets a prime time game. And on these Thursday night games have been pretty close, and the games have been pretty close this year. The NFL is loving it because you got teams that are just matching up, and it's funny because Cincinnati came out sluggish. They were down. They kept fighting. They went 2-1. Joe Buck said they didn't want to waste this 2-1 start, and here they are at 3-1. And congratulations to them. Joe Burrow is a beast. They got that team going in the right direction for the first time in a long time. I mean, I've been watching football since 1995, and the Bengals have always been the bottom dweller team, and here they are starting to kind of put things together. And you got to ask yourself this question: why are these teams now, like the Browns, the Bengals, starting to turn around? I'll tell you why. Because they had a lot of draft picks, but they had a lot of good draft picks that are now developing into good players. Unlike another team we'll mention in a little bit. The Jaguars, on the other hand, you can see the rebuild. They're fighting for their coach. Their quarterback is trying to get his sea legs about him. It's going to be a long season for Jaguar fans, but there is some hope. There is some silver lining there. The only thing that's a little discouraging is your coach. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop to see if he's going to, quit on this team and say, you know what, this is not for me anymore. I'm going to take, health reasons. I'm going to take a sabbatical or whatever. You don't want a guy that's going to be ill to losing already. You're only 4 games into your NFL career as a coach, and you already hate losing. Like, listen, I get it, you hate losing, but this is the card you were dealt when you came in with a team that's on the rebuild, right? So if you weren't ready for this losing, maybe you should have waited until somebody else came in, the team was built, and you come in and almost Phil Jackson that team. Remember where Doug Collins built the Chicago Bulls, and then Phil Jackson came in and put the finishing touches on it, and they became a championship team. Not saying that's going to happen with Urban Meyer, but if you wanted to not lose, either stick with college or coming into a team that has talent but was struggling. Okay, you can't just be like, "Oh, I'm sick of losing." It makes me sick to my stomach, and I don't know where my headspace is at. No, you need to be in it to win it. These guys played hard for you. They were out there giving it their all. You got to keep fighting for him. If at the end of the season you want to leave, that's on you. I mean, that's your choice. I can't stop Urban Meyer from doing what he wants to do. Now, I don't think if he does quit the NFL, I don't think he'll ever be in the NFL again. But some of these college coaches are impressing me. Makes me think if the Giants decide to move on, if they'll go in the college ranks. So that brings me to the Giants. I want to say this: Dave Gettleman stinks. And this is why. Because if you look around the league, every team has turnover. Every team has targeted players they're going for. But why are these players working better than so-and-so's players, right? The Giants have picked squeaky clean guys the entire way through up until just recently, right? Their two unsqueaky clean guys have been Kadarius Toney, and right now they signed Isaiah Wilson, who's had some off-the-field troubles. Maybe this is a new direction because you look at it, right? Gettleman got rid of Justin Pugh, bad back. He signed Patrick Omame and Nate Solder. Guess who's still in the league? Nate Solder is still in the league, but he stinks. But Justin Pugh is playing great ball right now, 3 years in. 3 years in. You know what he said? They didn't even offer him a deal. I'm like, yo, this is a first round pick that you guys drafted. And you can't sign him. This is where the incompetence of the Giants lies, and it starts with Gettleman, right? So then the next year you got rid of JPP. Well, guess what? JPP is still in the league. You got rid of BJ Hill in that trade. Your defense hasn't been the same. It doesn't have a leader. It doesn't have a dog on there, and sometimes. You want to keep a guy from the old guard to kind of teach the young guys how to do things, right? The same way JPP was ushered in when he had Tuck, Umanura and Kiwanuka there, and they brought in JPP, they still had the history from Strahan, who passed down to Tuck and OC Umanura as they went, right? So JPP came in, he was already under the tutelage of those guys, and it showed when he was there. If you have a second, go check the All In podcast on Giants.com. You can learn a lot about JPP's development. Didn't even really know how to play football, but was a menace to be reckoned with that 2011 season. And he's still in the league. He's got the second championship ring. Dave Gettleman, again, Odell Beckham Jr. traded for, Zeitler and Jabril Peppers, and Kevin Zeitler, and I think also Olivier Vernon. Olivier Vernon had some injuries. I liked Olivier when he came in, had some injuries. Ship him out. I didn't like his attitude, right? But Odell, here we are now. A lot of people say, what could have been with Odell and the Danny Dimes? I would love to have seen that in 2019. That probably would have changed everything up, in terms of the dynamic of the team. And you can see right now they're still struggling to find that elite playmaker on the outside. Odell Beckham Jr. has had some decent seasons with the Browns, but another Gettleman gem, right? And then let's not even get into some of these drafts. The last few drafts, Gettleman's staff has failed him. Okay, he's been with 2 coaching staffs so far in 4 years. He's had 4 drafts, and the 2018 draft class is looking like a wash. I mean, you have Saquon Barkley, who's not playing up to par. Tiki Barber said it best, and this is what I keep telling you guys. He's looking for the cutback lane before he even has the ball, and that's one of his problems right now, is he's not running to the hole that the hole is designed to go to and then cutting back. He's already looking for the cutback before the play even starts. And when you tend to do that, that's when you tend to get bogged down, because he's already cutting and looking at that guy and not letting the blockers develop. Now, I know he's had a suspect offensive line, and this is the things that happen to him, but this is what I'm talking about. And this is what I keep mentioning. And Tiki Barber has seen it, and Tiki Barber has mentioned I want to bring that up. Right? You have BJ Hill not even on the team. Lorenzo Carter is not even doing well, and RJ McIntosh gone. Right? 2019, we all know. DeAndre Baker's gone. Daniel Jones is finally starting to look like a quarterback, and Dexter Lawrence is having a bit of a slump this year. 2020, you like the draft pick. I mean, Andrew Thomas is coming into his own. A couple of those guys are still around, still trying to be building block pieces. I do, however, love the 2021 draft. I think a lot of those guys are going to be players going forward with that team. Rodarius Williams is playing, getting a lot of experience as a 6th-round pick over guys already on the roster. Darnay Holmes seems to have fell out of favor with this coaching staff. I think they're waiting for Aaron Robinson. I look forward to seeing him in a few weeks. He should be coming off the PUP list in about 3 to 4 weeks, and we'll see where he's at. So you see a lot of misses by Dave Gettleman in building this roster. Now, going forward, I would love a different set of eyes to be in here, clean house the entire way. Don't bring anybody from Carolina. Don't bring anybody. Bring in a GM. And Mara, you've got to let the GM and Joe Judge run the team. Just say, hey, listen, here's your spending bill. Go do it. And I think the reins were eased up a little bit with Joe Judge this season, because you got guys like Kadarius Toney and Isaiah Wilson and things like that. This is more of a Judge team than a Gettleman team. We'll see. I mean, Judge, here's the thing about Judge right now. I want to get into him real quick. He's going through some growing pains as a coach. This is his first head coaching gig. It's one of those things where, do you cut him before he's good? Because look what happened with the Browns. The Browns were in a rebuild mode in the mid 90s, early 90s, and then the team moved in 95. They cut Belichick and they went a different direction. And obviously, Belichick got his feet wet with being a coach then, and now has arguably the greatest coach in NFL history. So, sometimes it works out the first time, sometimes it doesn't. Mangini is the same kind of guy. He came in, and I think he would be a great second-time head coach after you've done it before. So the question is, do you allow Judge to go through these growing pains? Remember, he's only in, game number 20 of his NFL coaching career, and he's 6-14. So, not great, but you got to let him have some growing pains. Let's see if he can turn this around. I don't think he's the focal point of the problem. I think Jason Garrett and Gettleman but Gettleman is the guy right now that's the root of this, and I think it's John Mara bringing in somebody from the Giants to do the Giants way, and the Giants way right now is not working. So we need another way, right? Try the Ravens way, try the Steelers way, try the Kansas City Chiefs way. And I'm only saying this is because look at these guys. They drafted Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce over in Kansas City. They got Lamar Jackson. They got Hollywood and Brown. They've got guys still play. I mean, look at that team. That team is still well coached. They bring in guys, and the guys buy into the system, and they keep playing. So these are some things you need to look for. We'll see what the next 14 games brings for the Giants, and if they don't make the playoffs, to me, Gettleman's got to go because and then if he's got to go, let the GM pick his coach and quarterback. If he says Joe Judge is my guy, keep him. If he says Daniel Jones is my guy, great. So we'll find out. Giant fans, buckle up, get in ready for the ride. It's gonna be a long 14 weeks, but hopefully there'll be some silver linings in these games. See you later.